All right, Sweet 16 continues here, and so do we on the best betting show ever. Joe Ranieri alongside the one and only Mr. Art to Caesar here as the Prez has gone MIA. No idea. Didn't ask. Don't want to know. We've got way too much going on here with college hoops, NBA, only a handful of NHL games, but we got some afternoon baseball again. So a little something for everyone here today, Art. But let's start with how it went last night for you guys at the books in the opening of the Sweet 16 here. How'd you guys do?
We did really well. We had a ton of money on that Illinois-Houston over, shockingly, and felt like they could have played a whole extra game and it wouldn't have gotten there. People seem to be on Arkansas, so obviously Arizona blowing them out the way they did was good. Also, we were fighting some Arkansas money on them to win the region, so it was good to get them out of there. It was also, I must say, good to get Houston out of there as far as the future goes as well. That was a good knock them out. Really, now it's just Duke and Illinois we're worried about, where we do really well on Michigan and Arizona, so we're set up well on those 2-1 seeds. So yeah, it was a positive day.
Good day for you guys yesterday. How did you do, by the way? Because really, I mean, it was two dogs, right? So you had Illinois and you had Iowa, too, ends up getting it done there. How was that game? It's not a game we spent a lot of time talking about during the week, but it felt like certainly a lot of people like Nebraska, but I guess you just can't discount this Iowa team either.
No, you certainly can't. For us, it was interesting. We took early sharp money on Iowa at +2.5, and then when we were at -1.5 on Nebraska, we had another group take Nebraska -1.5. So we settled it too. We saw actually pretty good two-way action on the game. All these games got bet under, so obviously that game got bet under as well, and it flew over. So yeah, it was just it was just one of those where that was a game where it's kind of easy to book because you were pretty much going to be at 2 and you were going to take pretty good action on both sides.
Just a bit of advice for the professors at Nebraska. Help the guys on the basketball team count to 5. That would be great.
Man.
You need to have 5 guys on the court. You're allowed to have 5 guys. 4 is not a good idea when you're looking to get a defensive stop.
How could no one notice that?
Did you see them all on the sideline looking online? And Mass was like, "Oh, was that me? Was I supposed to?"
Yeah,
be?
The guy was waiting to check in.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. Kudos to Ben McCullough. Kudos to Iowa for recognizing it and taking advantage of it, because a lot of teams might have missed that and played right into it. So kudos to them. Unbelievable, though. Good win by Iowa. Now a number 9 seed. How did you do in Major League Baseball the opening day yesterday? Any action one way or the other?
No, it's been a little slow. Obviously, we're only a couple of days into this, and I think people are really still in March Madness mode. So I think the baseball betting obviously will pick up here, in the next couple of weeks. But it's been a little bit of a slow start as far as the action we've seen.
Did you? You and I were texting yesterday back and forth, and I'm going, Paul Skeens' ERA is now 67.5 on the season. And O'Neal Cruz, why are you having a shortstop play center field? I have no idea. Not that he was any good at shortstop either, but can't you just DH him and call it a day? Honestly.
I mean, and they kept saying on the telecast too, he's one of their most important players for them to have, which a lot of people expect Pittsburgh to have a really good year. Obviously, they have really good pitching and some of that young talent. If he's one of their most important players, they're going to win 65 games.
Of all places, the center fielder. Yeah. Like, the center fielder needs to... I can't over there.
He took 2 steps in.
Oh, and then the pop-up, like, you gave them 5 out. He gave them 2 extra outs alone. No wonder why Skeens is just like, I'm out of here. I'm done with this. But we got early afternoon baseball here today, so why don't we kick it off with what the sharp bets are looking like today. And you can start with the sports outside of the Sweet 16. What are you seeing, if anything, right now, Art?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the NHL 2 games, so there's really not much to report. NBA, a couple of totals. They took over 238. The Clipper game, now 239.5. Also over the Bulls game, 238. So that's also 239.5. 2 of the biggest totals on the board. early for the baseball. I mean, we're going to do this pretty much every day, which we've done the last couple of years. Dodger overnight numbers are going to go up 20 cents. Already gone up to 240. The over is starting to get bet up. Dodger team totals are going to get bet. So you've seen that. You've seen Padre money as well. We were minus 112, now approaching $1.20. We're 118 on that game. So that's really the early stuff. A little bit of Blue Jay money as well. Blue Jays went from 160 to, I believe, 172. So those are really the big moves so far in the baseball.
All right, Dad, did you have on your bingo card the Marlins opening the season as a $2 favorite against anybody?
I mean, I love Al Contreras, but that seems insane.
Wow. I know it's the Rockies,
Yeah.
but holy crap.
I know.
Wow. Unbelievable what's going on there. By the way, kudos to us. We did mention yesterday, did not understand the fate of Scooble in the market yesterday, proving once again that just because chasing steam in Major League Baseball may be a good reminder that that's not always the smart way to go either there, Art. Are there as many head fakes in Major League Baseball as we get in some of these other sports?
I would say no, because obviously, football is a totally different game because you're talking about key numbers. If they're going to head fake on 3 or 7 in the NFL, obviously that's something to keep your eye on. I guess there can be a little bit. Maybe it's something where they're trying to push a pitcher one way or the other, but I don't think it's as prevalent as it is in other sports.
Schoolboy, that was free money yesterday.
Man.
All right, let's talk about some of the Sweet 16 action. 4 games here tonight. First one, I believe, is the Johnnies at Duke here, and the public loves themselves some Johnnies, apparently. Art, what are you seeing?
I'm shocked by this because Duke is always Mr. Public. And yeah, we've seen nothing different at the Superbook. I mean, it's been a lot of St. John's public money. We were Duke 6.5 on the opener, got to 7. Now we're back to 6.5. We need Duke in the game, which rarely you say.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy there. And then I believe good old what a coaching matchup, huh? Hurley versus Izzo, 2 guys that have been absolutely staples when it comes to the NCAA tournament. Here's a stat. Last 4 years, Hurley and UConn, 15-1 against the spread. Art. They are literally Mr. March there, but I don't know. Do we trust UConn? Does the public trust UConn? Where's the money? Is it split down the middle in this one?
We need UConn, but there is good 2-way action on the game. Now, UConn's not as big of a need as, let's say, Duke. Total really came down here as well. 137, now 134. Ticked back up to 135 this morning. So you obviously start to see a buyback on some of these totals that have moved 3 and 4 points. This is, like I said, really good 2-way action. We actually do pretty well on both teams in the future market. So for us, it's going to kind of be like the Iowa-Nebraska game where game will probably be 1.5, 2 all day, and we'll just book the game that way.
Well, you got Johnny's and Duke on at 7:10, I believe 7:35 Eastern time. Bama and Michigan. We're starting to see a little more Michigan money come back now. I saw this down as low as 8.5. Are you still there? I mean, it opened 10.5, Michigan, and then we saw a lot of Alabama money. Are we starting to see the Michigan money back in? What's happening at the Superbook?
Yeah, I mean, we did get to 10, and now we're 9. We never got to 8.5. We've been as low on Michigan as 9. So, I mean, listen, Michigan, they're going to be popular, the money line parlays. People are going to put their minus $5 and parlay with baseball games and, NBA games and all that type of stuff. Like I said, we're rooting for Michigan because Michigan really is like our best future position. So we'd like to see Michigan go as far as they possibly can in this tournament.
Also, the highest total, 173 right now in the and I wouldn't sweat an under, like I wouldn't sweat an under in Arkansas and Arizona last night. How about Tennessee and Iowa State? Iowa State, it hasn't been a ton of movement, but what are you seeing here so far this week with this game?
Yeah, we opened 3.5, got to as high as 4.5. I mean, I guess Jefferson's playing. I don't know. I mean, the last time we saw him, he was on a scooter and a walking boot. I don't know
Right.
how he's playing, but I guess he's going to give it a go. So we did take Tennessee money at 4.5. The line probably is where it should be, 3.5, 4. And this is one that's kind of seemed pretty good two-way action. Total was bet down early and now got bet up this morning. So we're back up to 140 on that total, which feels like a high total for those two teams who play a similar style and kind of like to slug it out. But we thought that maybe with Nebraska and Iowa, and that flew over. So be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, even if Jefferson goes, what is he? 50%, 60%.
Exactly.
I think it's going to hurt them more offensively than it will defensively in that game. But boy, Tennessee likes to turn the ball over a lot this year, and that's a recipe for disaster against Iowa State here. But that game is going to be also in the 10 o'clock Eastern time hour. So any look ahead to the Elite Eight? Did you get, now that we have a couple of these matchups here, did you get any action overnight there, Art?
No action, but, we open Illinois 7 against Iowa, and we open Arizona 6 against Purdue. I would expect both those favorites to be parlayed on Saturday if people are just going to do two-teamers or find a baseball game they like and make some three-teamers out of it. Once again, Arizona really good for us in the future book, so we'll be rooting for Arizona to make the Final Four. As far as that other matchup goes, Illinois, we want to see Illinois out of there. They're now put in the position of like a Duke where we don't do well on Illinois, so we'll be rooting for Iowa to knock Illinois out of there.
It looks going to get them done there. All right, Art, parlay of the day here. I know that, how did we do yesterday? I know you said you also had a ton of Minnesota money against my Panthers last night. They did get them to overtime, but Minnesota did end up winning that game. What did we? I think I had Charlotte. Charlotte ended up beating the Knicks, which was good.
Yeah, I've been brutal this week. You guys won both yours. I lost mine.
Oh, damn.
2 out of 3, yeah. But this is what we always say, right? Bet them straight, you'll do fine.
This is, you're just adding fuel to the fire to the guy in the chat that's like, Art, your picks suck. You shouldn't don't give out free ones.
I'm waiting for him. He's got me zeroed in.
Oh my God! Well, like you said, if you round robin them, you're still ahead of the game here. That is for sure. All right, so today's action, a lot of stuff on the board. Art, where are you going for our two-teamer today?
I'm with you. I think Iowa State's going to cause a lot of issues for Tennessee. Give me Iowa State minus the 4.
Ooh, all right, and I am going to go. Again, 15-1 in the last 4 NCAA tournaments. Give me UConn. I ain't stepping in front of that. Give me UConn to get it done. This is right up their alley there. All right, Art. So what happens now next week? Of course, we're going to be getting ready for what? I basically what? National championships? What do we got in store for ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, next week, obviously, we're going to have plenty of talk about the Final Four. And then I think next week we'll really get into the full swing of baseball, because obviously Final Four doesn't go till Saturday. So pretty much I think Final Four, I mean, we'll talk about the early opening numbers on those, but that'll probably be more towards later in the week where we're really starting to dive in to the money coming in that. And I think next week early, it's pretty much, hey, let's get into the swing of baseball here. And then obviously NBA and NHL are ending soon and we're going to be in playoff mode, which is going to be great.
I love it. All right, Art, before I get you out of here, I wanted to show you this and reiterate it to the viewers here because I've been mentioning with the predictive markets, and I did a video on this. A lot of people question how do you why the predictive market? How do you use that, and how do you use it with the sports book? I got these. I got DraftKings, I'm FanDuel, I'm the Westgate. What so. One of the ways I looked at it, Art, was, and let's face it, you've got 3 dogs here tonight, Art, that have, based upon what the money line spread is, 1 in 5, 1 in 3 chance of winning outright in most spots. I think the biggest dog is Alabama, but their money line is still about 420, plus 420, plus $4. So you're basically in a 1 in 5 shot that Alabama, you play this game 5 times, Bama's going to win 1 out of every 5, right? I'm seeing right now, Art, get a load of this. This is for the national championship market. Alabama is trading at 1 cent. Tennessee is trading at 1 cent. If they win these games here tonight, now 1 cent doesn't equal 1 in 5 to me, Art. This doesn't make the math ain't mathing for me here. If Alabama or Tennessee pull out the upset, or even the Johnnies, as you can see at 3 cents, we wake up tomorrow with any one of those dogs as outright winners. And I don't need them to win the national championship. I just need them to get by tonight, because that 1 cent or 3 cents turns into 15 cents or more in a heartbeat when we're down to 8 teams.
Yeah, I mean, just to think about those teams, I know they're a little bit higher than the 1 cent teams, but it feels like St. John's, if they get by Duke, and let's say they get UConn, they've had a lot of success against UConn. I mean, right? They're not afraid of UConn. And listen, obviously UConn blew them out in that one revenge spot, but St. John's took 2 out of 3 against UConn, and we know there's really no coaching edge, maybe even a slight coaching edge to Pitino. But I mean, that is a team that it's going to be tough to get by Duke, but man, it feels like their number would really shoot up, and that line against UConn would be a tight line. I mean, UConn would be favored. It'd be favored in the game, but it'd be small.
1 cent, you're acting as if they should just get on the bus and go back home. Yeah. There's no point in playing. This is not a 10,000 to 1 under. You're talking about 3 teams in a notoriously tough spot here to be the favorite and expect to win. Anything is, we saw a couple of dogs last night win, not as big as the ones here tonight. But if the Johnnies beat Duke, if you're taking any one of these teams tonight with the points, if you're on Alabama, if you're on Tennessee, or if you are on the Johnnies, get over to the prediction markets and throw a couple of bucks down on these at 1 cent and 3 cents. Because to me, Art, that's how you leverage the books there. Take the points all you want with your book, but if you're using the prediction markets, 1 and 3 cents on teams that are live dogs in these spots, Art? Come on.
Yeah, no, I'm with it. And like I said, the St. John's one definitely stood out to me, but I couldn't even argue, a couple of the other ones. I mean, listen, I know I picked Iowa State, but Tennessee can beat them. I mean, I don't expect Alabama to beat Michigan, but Tennessee can absolutely win that game. Why can't they? That could happen.
The money line price, Art, with Tennessee is what? But let's see here. Tennessee is plus 160, let's call it, Art. Plus 160 means they're going to win this game more often than you realize. And at 1 cent? Yeah. Again, I don't need them to win the national championship. I just need them to win tonight, and then I can cash out the profits tomorrow. Unbelievable. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you utilize the predictive markets. Art, get out of here. Big day for you. Appreciate it as always. We will catch you again on next week, on Tuesday. We'll dive into a whole lot of Major League Baseball and, of course, look to crown a national champ, man. So be well, Art. Appreciate it as always.
Yeah, see you on Tuesday, Joe.
All right, Art the Caesar, there you go. As always, we appreciate it, guys. Make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and, of course, become part of the WagerTalk family here for the best betting show ever. All right, we've got no Prez. I guess we've got some business that we got to take care of here, and I'll start with mine. It's pretty simple. We nailed our Major League Baseball start to the season yesterday. We told you here on the show, Scooble, no way am I fading Scooble on opening day against Pivetta. And now I've got not one but 2 games that have similar value here today on the board. It's always fun this time of year because the books and the bettors, we're all on the same page, kind of a level playing field right now. And some of these numbers, it's just too much value to pass up here. So we've got 2 Major League Baseball games that are locked and loaded. I've got them together in a package. Head over to WagerTalk.com, pick those up. I'm already locked and loaded on a 4% college basketball Sweet 16 play. That is available there. I've added another play here because the market is now forcing my hand to have to do so. You can get those over at WagerTalk.com, and I will have an NBA top play up as soon as I can get a clue as to a couple of games of who I think is in and out. I will have those ready for you guys. Again, all available at WagerTalk.com. So, let's run down a couple of games here for you tonight. I'll just do a couple in each. College basketball, Major League Baseball, and NBA. Let's start with college basketball here tonight. Not that hard, guys. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 games that remain here tonight in the Sweet 16. We'll focus on that Tennessee-Iowa State game. You just saw me show Art how Tennessee is a plus 150 dog here, getting 4 points it looks like now. Well, plus 150 in the on the money line tells me that Tennessee, about a 40%, a little more than that, chance of actually winning this game here tonight. That's what the implied probability tells us. Well, if that's the case, and that the prediction market future for the national titles is what, Tennessee getting 1 or 2 cents right now, you got to think Tennessee is going to play, if they win this game outright, is going to play either Michigan or Alabama. Kind of like the chances here, call me crazy, of Tennessee at least improving in that market. Do they win this game? But I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take them on the money line, and I'm going to take them in that prediction market futures when it comes to who's going to be the national champion. I definitely think we can gain at least from a 1 or 2 cent market to at least a, 4 or 5% market here. I think that is great opportunity there across the board. Take the points, sprinkle on the money line, and then put a little in that futures market there in the predictive and get all 3 markets working for you, because I do believe Rick Barnes has an opportunity here to advance to the Elite Eight. Nobody is talking about Tennessee, although down the stretch, guys, outside of the game against Vandy, this has been one of the best teams, certainly, in the SEC. They have figured some things out. They cut down on the turnovers. I like Tennessee here in this spot to get it done. But take the points, take the money line, and take them in that futures market there over at Kalshi or Poly Market or whichever one you use. As far as Major League Baseball goes here tonight, guys, we've got one afternoon game, and that's the Yankees at the Giants. I do like the over there, keeping in mind, of course, that the Yankees, 7 runs, pretty much all condensed early on in that game, in game 1 there. Now Schlittler versus Robbie Ray here. Robbie Ray still pitching at the ripe old age of, 100? Feels like he's been around for a very, very long time. But the ball travels much better there at Oracle during the day than it does at night. So keep that in mind. I think this total continuing to rise. It was 7.5 overnight. I saw 8s this morning. And I would look to go up and over in this spot with those 2 pitchers there. Also, Reagans versus Chris Sale, another interesting one. I think there's a ton of value on Kansas City in this game. Reagans and Chris Sale, to me, Reagans coming off an injury-plagued season. So did Chris Sale. I like both lineups here a lot. Both bullpens kind of on par with one another, although I do like the Royals bullpen a little bit better. But I think this is a coin flip game, and you're getting a pretty good plus money price there on Kansas City. So certainly worth maybe looking at getting them at plus money, or maybe take the half a run in the first 5 with Kansas City, as I definitely think they can go toe-to-toe here with Atlanta in Atlanta. And as far as the NBA goes here tonight, guys, plenty of monster numbers up on the board. We just found out New Orleans is going to be missing all sorts of people here tonight. They just got boat raced by Detroit last night. Now they are traveling to Toronto to take on the Raptors, who can't be trusted. But this game was 7.5, and now it is 9.5. It's kind of hard to trust New Orleans in this spot after getting pretty beat up by the Detroit Pistons last night. We also just learned that Jaylen Brown is out for the Boston Celtics. That line was up as high as 5.5. It has settled back down to around 4 now. Boston is 7-2 now with Tatum back in the lineup, but I mean, who are we kidding? Atlanta has won, 14 of the last 15 games, coming off of that overtime win against Detroit. That's going to be a good one there, but it also wouldn't shock me if that lands under. Both of these teams extremely good defensively, and I don't think there's going to be a ton of pace in this game. And now that Jaylen Brown is out, maybe an under is in store. So I would look at that. And for the second time in 3 days, the Miami Heat taking on the Cleveland Cavs. 5.5 this game has jumped up to. And listen, nobody has been worse against the spread at home this year, especially as a favorite, than the Cleveland Cavaliers. Miami has been great as a road dog against the spread here. Miami is also finally healthy. Jaime Jaquez Jr. was the only question they had. He's already been upgraded to playing tonight. So, yeah, I kind of like Miami to keep this thing close here. In this series, by the way, with these two teams, it always appears to be a road team that ends up keeping it close, if not pulling the outright victory there. So I'll take the points with Miami, and that will do it there. A little something for everybody there, but take advantage, guys, of these dogs tonight and the predictive markets and the books. Go ahead. If you like any of them, if you like the Johnnies tonight, if you like Tennessee, if you think Alabama's got a puncher's chance, and the market obviously does, because it was bet down to about 8.5 at one point. The future market there, the title market in these predictive spots, plenty of value, guys. There's no reason not to take the points, not to take them on the money line, and not to sprinkle a little something in those markets at those prices there. That is how you can get all those markets working for you, and that is how you be really profitable come March Madness there. So make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you go grab the top plays are available right now. Take advantage, guys, over at WagerTalk.com. Again, 2 in Major League Baseball that I've got locked and loaded for you. Go grab those over on my page, wt.buzz/JR. Go get that NBA play. I'm going to throw one up here in just a minute. And, of course, I've got a couple of Sweet 16 games and angles you guys are going to want to hear about. So appreciate it. Always love, guys. Appreciate you stopping by and hanging with us as usual. We'll be back on Monday. If not, we'll have to send a search party out for the Prez. Either way, Art will be back, and get ready. Major League Baseball, and we'll be that close to crowning a national champion, and the postseason, both Stanley Cup and NBA, just around the corner. Lot going on here in the sports world. Enjoy the day, enjoy the games, enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you again next week on the best betting show ever. Enjoy.